Hey,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you, man. And that setup is fucking cool.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of the things I was cleaning up back here.
Oh,
I was enjoying this kombucha, and and I was looking at it, and I'm like, where are these made? It's like an amazing product, no sugar, and it's like 5 calories, and it's kombucha. And I'm looking at it, and it says that it's made in Australia.
hey, see? There
somehow,
you go.
somehow, you all created this fine product, and then it got on a boat and got all the way over to me, and now I'm sitting enjoying it. I don't know exactly how they make money because I've tried to ship things to Australia and it's not cheap. So, however it got to me, I'm enjoying it. So I was happy to see that it's from Australia.
It's a sign because we're everywhere. We are everywhere, mate. Australia.
You are everywhere.
We are.
You are everywhere.
Yeah, you get out there in the world and you'll meet an Australian somewhere. Because you hear us a mile away with our backward slur. Sounds like a record going backwards. You go, oh, there's an Australian. So,
All right.
so you're at home. This is the studio. This is where the Crystal Method make all the bangers, right?
This is Crystal Works. Yes, this has been our studio for 15 plus years. And mine on my own now since my partner retired for the last 6 years.
Do you still keep in touch with Ken?
Oh, absolutely. We don't talk often, but every once in a while he was here visiting. And earlier this year, I got a chance to play him the new album and get his blessing on that. And then, but yeah, we stay in touch. Yeah,
I love that. I love that you still bros. That's cool.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, man, talking about Australia, here's one for you. You're coming down to Australia. You're coming
Yes,
back.
I am.
We are, man. I tell you what, though, I'm very excited because I'm a long time fan of what you do, bro. Like,
Oh, thank you.
it's yeah, not gonna lie, Crystal Method's kind of a big fucking deal for me. So I was a bit nervous, dude. I was a bit nervous talking to you, to be honest.
I offset those nerves by being late to the so now I'm on the defensive. So now all the nerves are coming from my end. So we're balanced out.
Now I
I
got you in the hot
apologize.
seat. Now I got you in the hot seat. But mate, I think the last time we saw you here was Big Day Out, and I was there on the Gold Coast. I don't remember much of it because it was a very messy day. But it's what you did. That was like what we did. It was an Australian staple where you'd go to the Big Day Out and you'd just cut loose, and then the rest of the week you were paying for it. But do you remember what that tour was like, since it was so iconic for so many people?
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. The lineup was phenomenal. It was stellar. You know, you had Tool as the headliner,
Mm.
Muse, Killers, us, Diplo, Peaches, just to name a few. I think also the Streets was on that
Yes.
as well, and and I do remember a lot of it. There are some blank spots here and there, but the thing I loved about the Big Day Out, and it's a shame that it's gone away and there hasn't been anything to fill the void, because it obviously, the distance between you and the rest of the world makes it difficult for bands to just pop in and pop out, and it takes a lot of effort. But that tour obviously just kind of created this ball of energy from an international standpoint. The bands and the different energy that all sort of got together and joined this traveling wonderment, this circus, if you will. But the Big Day Out family did such a incredible job at creating this vibe for all the artists to enjoy this, traveling on the sort of the same schedules. The after parties are legendary. I mean, I every one of those after parties left a dent that took some buffing out the next few days. But that was the great thing about it. You had a couple days off usually afterward. There wasn't. I don't think there were very many back-to-backs. I don't think there were any now that I think about it. Yeah, it's just a shame that you all don't have that something similar to that, where again all these international acts and also there's some local acts. I remember there were quite a few. I think I want to say that they were Machine Gun Fellatio. Were they from Australia?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was on the tour. That was the previous one, I think 2002 when we were on that tour. I think it was that on that tour it was New Order, Prodigy, well, there was a bunch of a System of a Down.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and Garbage. There were a bunch of great acts on that one as well. But again, you got a chance to enjoy the different sites. Gold Coast was one of the ones that I was. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be able to visit there this time. But
just up the road, bro. You're just going to be. I think it's that way. Everyone that way, Brisbane. You're
yes,
you're just up the road. It's not
okay.
Fun. Yeah, that's all right.
Yes, I do want to take some. I do want to get out of the bubble and go out and see some sites and stuff and enjoy my time down there. So I'm looking forward to it. Have a little schedule that I'm putting together and working with my my tour manager, who's going to be looking after me and making sure I get to all my flights and just want to make the most of it.
Mate, I will tell you one thing though. When you're in Sydney, make sure you duck into Frankie's Pizza.
Frankie's Pizza, okay.
It's about to close forever, and it's this legendary venue. It is legendary. I played there on Sunday night, and man, I had the best time ever. And bands will go there after their sets and just eat pizza and drink beers and have the best time. So
now, is the pizza's good then?
Best pizza I've ever had in my life, man. And
really?
They sell it by the slice the size of your head. Seriously.
Fantastic.
Shout out to Frankie's Pizza. And I'm sad that they're closing down because they're tunneling a train station through it, which is really sad. But mate, put that on your list of things to do, because I reckon you'll have an absolute blast there.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. That's Nev's tip of the day. So, but you've written so many bangers over the years, and like iconic songs, man, that I feel have been very important, not only for the electronic community, but also fans of heavy music as well. You're one of those artists that has really helped bridge the gap between and influence so many musicians across multiple genres, man. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's very humbling. I mean, I think that is, without us knowing it, it became our calling card as the bridge, if you will, for so many that were into rock or in the heavier sound, that we were the bridge to electronic music. There was that, and growing up in a small town, Las Vegas at the time was a small town. You kind of got in your little bubble. You went to the record store, you went to your section, you bought the records that the bands that you were familiar with. Very rarely did you walk in. Maybe there was a couple times you'd walk in and the guy that was behind the counter would be playing something and you would go, "Oh, what's this?" And he turned you on to something, because of course before the internet, before social media, obviously, but as we started to release and start to develop, it was that age where people were starting to branch out and share things and get out of their little genre bubbles, and maybe it was a big brother or an uncle or a friend at school that hey, you got to check this out, and you put the headphones on, or you get in the car and you'd hear something that maybe wasn't on your radar. And I can't tell you, one of the things that we heard a lot was I bought your album. I bought your album Vegas 5 times because my friends kept stealing the one I had, that I played for them in the car. So, that's it's very cool. I have bands that helped me discover. Black Celebration from Depeche Mode was the album that took me from being a heavy metal purist to learning that you can really do dark and seriously cool shit with synths. Gone were the days where it was just like fluffy sounds. You can actually make real ominous, distorted, layered, cinematic soundscapes, and with the synthesizer and with the distortion pedal and with filters on your samplers and stuff. So you just it was a real big moment for me when somebody turned me on to something that I hadn't heard, and that led me down a path. And so to know that that's happened with others with the Crystal Method is very cool.
Oh man, it's amazing. And like for me, when I was a young dude, like you probably hear it all the time, but like for me, it goes back to Trip Like I Do. I was a massive Filter fan, and then of course you guys collaborated. And it just set me off on that journey. But the original version on Vegas is pretty different from the version with Filter. So that's always fascinated me, is how you guys teamed up. What was that writing like? How was it reconstructing this song for that soundtrack? Like, being that you're both different from different sides. How was that process?
Well, it actually Richard Patrick and his partner at the time in the band, his name is escaping me right now, but they did all the heavy lifting. We were meant to get into the studio together and write a new song, but we were we were in the middle of recording Vegas, and delays or setbacks or whatever was going on at the time. We were running out of time. Obviously, it was for a potential soundtrack. Potentially, it was going to be in the movie. We had to hurry up and get this thing going. So Richard, our manager, who we shared a manager with Filter, Richard Bishop, sent Trip Like I Do over to the boys, and we got a phone call a couple days later, and it was Richard Patrick, and of course we were big Filter fans as well. And so we were, fanboying out a little bit by having this moment with this rock star, and he's like, "Oh man, I fucking love this song. Like check this out." And he's like, he starts to, play a couple demos through the phone, and we're like, "Holy shit, that's so badass!" Because taking this line that was basically, a very organic, sensual line from a answering machine that that was left on my answering machine that some 5 years earlier, had then turned into this idea that then now this iconic rock band that was all over the radio was able to create something and move it forward in a way that obviously still represented the song itself with the cool liquidy synthesizer at the beginning and the big crunchy sounds and the big drums and stuff that is quintessentially the Crystal Method. But here melody and guitars and all this other layers of it were being added to it, and I was just fascinated and really blown away how how that creative process could work, and it continued to inspire the band, us going forward, because Vegas was pretty much just Ken and I, and we had a singer, Trixie, who was on 2 songs, and we had a couple people that were uncredited John Bryan being one of them, who, would contribute stuff here and there. But, it was pretty much two guys in a studio with samplers and synthesizers making music. And then the way that song turned out, we were like, well, we can hear this way of adding or collaborating with others in a real organic way. Then we move on to Tom Morello and Scott Weiland and Wes Borland and John Garcia, and so it was a real big coup for us to be able to have the relationship with with them finding the song, being inspired by the song, and then it having such a pivotal part of the soundtrack for the movie, and also in a pivotal scene in the movie as well. The character's going to hell, which again, I say this, and I say it honestly. I don't know if I've ever watched the movie from beginning to end, but I know that was a big part of the movie, and of course the video that we did with it, with the incredible artist and director Floris Sigmundi, really took that whole project to the next level. And now that song is a big part of Filter's set. And of course, the original and Can't You Triple Like I Do is a part of my set going forward.
I love it, dude. So with that, what version do you play live? Do you do the one with the Filter one, or is it the one from Vegas?
I do a hybrid of the two, because the one from Vegas has that, iconic narrative over the top, setting up this mystical, background of the crystal method, which is basically just taken from the Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
I used to work in I used to be a manager in a video store, and I would, play movies, and I remember, playing that because I wasn't, I don't recall seeing it when it was in theaters, and so I just remember hearing it in the background and hearing like, wow, that's fucking really cool. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna rent this one. I'm gonna take this movie home, and then we had somebody redo it, but yeah, it's so I like that aspect of the original Vegas version, and then of course, it having the Richard Patrick's vocal, so it's a version that I don't think that I don't think that anyone, except if it was on some sort of streaming event that I may have done over the last 2 or 3 years, that anybody down there has heard this particular version. So I'm excited to play that.
I'm excited. I'm very excited, man. But yeah, hey, Vegas turned 25 this year, right?
Yeah, can you believe that? It's amazing.
Man, that was right at the right time for me. I was like that young, impressionable dude, and everything, I crammed it all in. It was such an important, it still is a very important album to me. Same with Tweaking, man, like everything you do. But
thank you.
Did you celebrate it? Did you call up Ken and say, hey man, we did it. We made it to 25. We did it. I've been working, I've been trying to get because the label that put that out, Universal, Outpost, Universal, Geffen, they did a re-release of the vinyl about 3 or 4 years ago, but I really wanted to have them work, put together a re-release of it, because I wanted to do a cassette, CD, and a vinyl of it, and a little box set. But I, COVID and the fact that vinyl was just so difficult to put into production. But 25 plus, 25, again, whenever it comes out, it's just it's always it's a great number to use, 10, 20, 25. But yeah, I'm still blown away by the reach and the affection that album has garnered over the last 25 years since we
since we put it out. So so I'm excited. I've got versions of Vapor Trail and Keep Hope Alive and Busy Child, of course, and I might sneak a couple other ones in there as well. But I'm excited to bring some of that album back out and play it for people.
Yeah, man. Hey, and if there is an anniversary edition coming out at some point, as you said, like, man, put me down for like 20 copies. I'll just throw my wallet at you because, mate, I would absolutely love to have that on vinyl. That's for sure.
Awesome,
mate. But of course, I'll just one more question. You know, you've collaborated with so many people over the years, and you've written for soundtracks, and your work is so extensive. But is there one person that you would love to collaborate with, or maybe even dabble in a genre remix, something like a death metal band or something like that? Is there anything you still want to
yeah,
do?
there. I mean, I'd love. Mike Patton is somebody that I greatly admire. I've always PJ Harvey is one of my all-time favorites. Working with Morello again would be fantastic. I'm massive Run the Jewels fan. There are a lot of there definitely are a lot of artists that I admire and I at a moment or two I can imagine a collaboration, but for the most part it's the ones that work out the best are the ones that are organic in nature. They we meet somewhere, we get introduced to each other, there's some sort of connection made, and then there's a mutual respect and a mutual effort to put into the collaboration that really are the ones that are the most fulfilling. But yeah, so I don't want to be a stalker, but I always appreciate the question because you never know what somebody might hear it and that might be the way it organically starts up.
Put it out there in the world, man. That's it. I would love to hear like Patton and PJ Harvey with the Run the Jewels. Man, you've still got, I mean, I'm sure you've got plenty of tunes cooking up there in the back there. So
yeah,
let's just put it out in the world because that would be fucking amazing. But
yeah,
hey,
there are a few of them like that. That of course, my good mate Justin Chancellor. We're always looking to do something together. Danny Lohner is a good friend of mine. We've started a couple tracks that hopefully will one day see the light of day. Yeah, I'm in a big city with a lot of really super talented, creative people, and I've got the gear, I've got the space. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, Bandwidth, right? Was that the project you had with Justin?
A Bandwidth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that still cooking? Like you still got?
We're still cooking. Although he's been busy, but I've had an open session to I send him stuff, he sends me stuff all the time. We're just getting. Usually when we get in the room, we just end up having beers and chatting, and then every once in a while we'll get in the room and with instruments and stuff. But yeah, he's. I mean, I sat 2 feet from him while he was playing his instruments, and it's truly a phenomenal, because I understand. I have a bass. I know it. I have a few basses around here. I could pick a bass up and noodle around on it, but seeing somebody that truly understands the instrument and has their own interpretation of what it means to them and how they perform with it, it's a lot of fun to be in the room with him when he's playing and to see them live. I mean, they're just one of the best live acts out there. So I just recently ran into Danny Carey at a concert here in town and talked to. He's got the most massive collection of synthesizers in their loft. So I need to reach out to him. I told him I'd reach out to him. That's another note I need to.
There you go. Go for a dig through the collection.
Yes. Yeah, I really enjoy working with kind, creative people, it really inspires me to continue making music, and I look forward to any interaction with anyone who's into it as much as I am.
Man, you just saying all that, like, just I got goosebumps, dude. Like, it's, you know, I'm a fanboy. Sorry, I'm fanboying out here.
It's all good.
I love
Now,
what-
so now you said that Brisbane is only so far away, but does that mean that you're going to make it to Brisbane?
I'm gonna be in Brisbane. It's
You're
only
going to be in Brisbane.
40 minutes.
All right.
Up the road. It's just up the road.
Yeah, fantastic.
Hey, dude, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, you will indeed. Looking forward to it.
See you, brother.
All right, cheers.